arguably the best game this Saturday takes place in Charlotte as number 21 North Carolina takes on South Carolina. Guys, this is a massive, massive game for both teams. A battle between two teams that have very high expectations entering this year. A battle between two teams that have phenomenal quarterback play. So the million-dollar question now is who's going to come out on top in this rivalry game? And that is that question that we are going to answer today. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad that you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including those expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. You do not want to miss out on those picks, guys. We beat out over 80% of the national handicappers each of the last 5 years. We can guarantee you a winning record. We can guarantee you winnings right back in your pocket and guarantee you the best customer service that any handicapper in the country can give you guys. One of the lowest prices in the country for some of the best picks in the country. We want you to sign up. We want you to take advantage of those today. Our week one picks coming out this week. You do not want to miss out on those. Again, guaranteed winnings right there in your pocket. Also, check out our Patreon account for exclusive college football content year-round, and send us some gear. We'd love to get some South Carolina gear, some North Carolina gear, whoever your team may be. We'd love to get some of your team's gear right up here in our background display in every single video this season. You can send that to that mailing address, again, down in the description below. So let's take a look at this, guys. I am pretty dang hyped for this game between North Carolina and South Carolina. I think it has an opportunity to be the best game on Saturday, and I think it has an opportunity to be one of the best games of week one. You look at North Carolina, a team that made the ACC championship game last year, but was kind of disappointing. Had a pretty strong start, kind of faltered towards the end, and a major reason why they struggled was their defense, and that's obviously an area they're hoping to correct this year. South Carolina, they were kind of the opposite of North Carolina, right? They had a decent start to the year, but the way they finished, phenomenal, with big wins over Tennessee and Clemson, ruining both the Volunteers and Tigers' playoff hopes in the process, and then ultimately fell short in one of the best postseason games of last year to Notre Dame. It was an absolute shootout. Now both teams enter 2023 with very high expectations, looking to improve on last year's win total, become actual forces to be reckoned with within their own conferences. And you take a look at what they're up against. North Carolina, we'll start with them. Their offense has an opportunity to be one of the best in the country, just like it was last year. And a reason for that is because they have one of the best quarterbacks in the country in Drake May. May throwing for over 4,300 yards and 38 touchdowns, and led the Tar Heels in rushing with 698 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns. So this is a guy that had over 5,000 yards of total offense and 45 touchdowns. He's a legitimate Heisman Trophy contender, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and he will be a very high NFL draft pick, no doubt about it. You take a look at the offense as a whole, though. 9 starters are back for North Carolina, so it's not just the Drake May show. Elijah Green and Amarian Hampton back at running back, huge for that Tar Heels program. Hopefully Drake May doesn't have to do all the rushing by himself. Yes, unfortunately, they do lose their top 2 pass catchers from last year, but good thing for North Carolina is their offensive line should be a little bit better than it was last year after giving up 40 sacks. So I think Drake May can get out there and get the ball to anybody. I truly believe that. Wide receiver core not as strong as it was last year, but he can get it out there. He can sling it. He'll build chemistry rather quickly. The running game should complement that. The offensive line should give May a little bit more protection. This is an offense that averaged 34.4 points per game and over 460 yards per game last year. They have an opportunity to match those numbers, if not top them, in 2023. South Carolina, on the other hand, 6 starters back for Shane Beamer's squad. Spencer Rattler leading the charge at quarterback. He is one of the better quarterbacks within the SEC. Threw for over 3,000 yards in 2022, 18 touchdowns to just 12 interceptions. Nothing special there, but new offensive coordinator Dow Loggins, coming in from Arkansas, where he was the tight ends coach, also had multiple stints as an offensive coordinator in the NFL. He comes in, I think he's going to do a really good job with his Gamecocks offense. I think you're going to see that change and that good job happening in the very first week against the Tar Heels. Spencer Rattler, another year under his belt in this system, going to go do extremely well. They return Antoine Wells, one of the best wide receivers within the SEC, after eclipsing over 900 reception yards last year. Loggins, when he came over to South Carolina, brought with him Trey Knox from Arkansas to come play tight end. Was phenomenal with the Razorbacks last year. Is it going to be a great big target for Spencer Rattler this year? Also a great blocker as well. The running back core, a little bit of a concern for South Carolina. Doesn't really have that RB1 they can rely as heavily on as North Carolina maybe can. But this is still an offense that averaged over 30 points per game last year, averaged nearly 380 yards per game, including 260 through the air. And like North Carolina, I believe the Gamecocks can at least match those numbers, but very well could top them this year as well. Take a look at the defense. That's where this game is going to be decided, right? Both teams have great offenses. I have no doubt that North Carolina can match South Carolina and vice versa. Neither team, in my opinion, is going to struggle to score. So a game that could very well become a shootout, which defense can step up, make the plays when needed, help seal the win for their team. When you take a look at North Carolina, this was last year, you'd say, it's definitely not the Tar Heels, right? You would look at North Carolina and go, we're done, we're toast. Because the defense for North Carolina last year was god-awful. 30.8 points per game is what they allowed. They allowed 437 yards per game, including 165 rushing and 271 through the air. Couldn't stop the run, had one of the worst secondaries in the country. It was pitiful. This year, though, things should be a little bit different. 8 starters are back, so a lot of experience returning. 6 of their top 7 tacklers return, which is huge for UNC. Cedric Gray, Power Eccles leading the way for the Tar Heels this year. But biggest concern, if I'm North Carolina, is the secondary. Only 1 starter returns in the secondary, and the Tar Heels are facing a great quarterback in Spencer Rattler and a team that wants to throw the ball. That's going to be the concern and the storyline to watch as you head into Saturday. South Carolina, on the other hand, only 4 starters are back for them, and their defense, they can't brag too much either. It wasn't all that great. 28.8 points per game, that's what they were giving up. 405 yards per game is also what they were giving up. So in terms of yards per game and points per game, not that big of a difference between the Tar Heels and the Gamecocks. They do return, good thing for South Carolina, they do return their leading tackler in Nick Emanwari at safety. So secondary, not too bad. It leaves a secondary that I think is going to be very solid, 4 starters back. So if you're looking at, on paper and trying to compare this, South Carolina owns a significant edge in the secondary just from experience alone. Secondary led by Marcellus Dial, who led the team with 3 interceptions last year. And to me, this is a South Carolina team that right now is better suited to stop the pass than the Tar Heels. South Carolina is better suited in the back 7, in the secondary, to stop Drake May than North Carolina is to stop Spencer Rattler. And last year, the secondary wasn't even all that bad for the Gamecocks. They gave up just 207 passing yards per game. So the key, if I'm South Carolina, is contain Drake May, right? I have faith in South Carolina's secondary. I do. I think they can stop the pass. Not shut it down completely, but enough to make life a little bit more difficult for Drake May. The key for them is going to make sure he can't escape the pocket. Don't allow him to run the ball. Don't allow him to scramble and make plays outside of the pocket. Contain him. Force him into mistakes. If you can do that, you're going to be just fine. Let them run all over. Let the running backs run all over you if you're North Carolina, if you're South Carolina. Let them go. Don't allow Drake May to single-handedly beat you like he did to so many teams last year. North Carolina, on the other hand, they've got to find a way to stop the pass. I have faith in their front 7. I think they can slow down the run, not significantly, but South Carolina's running back core doesn't, give me a whole lot of confidence. Spencer Rattler, not the most mobile quarterback in the world. So I think North Carolina is going to do a pretty solid job in terms of stopping the run. It's a matter if the secondary can step up and rattle Rattler and create a couple turnovers, create a couple big stops, slow down that passing game. Ultimately, guys, what's going to happen in Charlotte, right? I love this matchup. It's a rivalry game. It's a neutral site. The crowd's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be an amazing atmosphere, one of the best atmospheres on Saturday night or on Saturday as a whole. I love this game. I've been hyped about this game for a long time, and I think we were robbed of this being a top 25 matchup because I believe that South Carolina should at least been in the top 25 at number 24, number 25, somewhere around there. But I digress. It's an interesting game here, right? We just mentioned it. It's kind of opposites. North Carolina, they've got to find a way to stop the pass. South Carolina, they've got to find a way to stop the run, right? I believe they can stop the pass. They've got to find a way to stop the run with that straight May with the running backs. The goals are opposite for the Tar Heels and the Gamecocks. Right now, to me, North Carolina, they own the offensive edge. South Carolina, they own the defensive edge. It's at a neutral site. No one gets the tiebreaker there, right? So we got to choose. We got to go one way or another. And right now, I'm leaning South Carolina's way. I am leaning in the way of the Gamecocks. I believe that, as we just mentioned, South Carolina can match UNC step for step offensively. They have the explosiveness. They have the weapons to do that. They have the quarterback play to match Drake May. And when it comes to defense, I like South Carolina's just a little bit more. Even with all the experience coming back for UNC, I cannot trust them right now. And I definitely don't trust that secondary. If you give Rattler time, if South Carolina's offensive line can hold and give him time, I believe he's going to deliver. If he plays like he did against Tennessee, like he did against Clemson, like he did against Notre Dame, and I believe that he will, they will be just fine. The South Carolina secondary does the rest, and the Gamecocks win a narrow, close, fun, high-scoring, thrilling game against North Carolina. But South Carolina ultimately gets the win, just like they did in the Mayo Bowl just a few years ago. Start the year 1-0 and jump into the top 25 where they should have been to begin the season. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. We've got South Carolina taking down UNC in a mini upset to kick off the college football season. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including those expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Sign up for those today so you can take advantage of all of our week 1 picks. It's a full year-long subscription too, we should add. Check out the Patreon account. Send us some gear to the mailing address. We'd love to get some UNC or South Carolina gear in our background for every single video. Do not want to miss out on that. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.